best bet you can do is just get as far away as you can, pull off as best you can, and get away from it, because this is just bound for trouble as it heads now southbound on I-35 towards 87th Street Parkway is approximately this area. And actually, you know, we talk about rush hour and you think 5 o'clock, but just weaving in and out of this traffic here on I-35. That's right there near 87th Street Parkway, because that's an area that actually in the rush hour, technically, it gets much more congested right about now. It doesn't wait for 5 o'clock. You know, about 4:30, we start to see a lot more cars, as you can see here, along I-35 there heading into Johnson County. During afternoon hours like this, it is a very congested time, making us very nervous for an erratic drive like this to be happening through the main streets here heading towards Lenexa this afternoon. So again, this now happening as we speak. This white pickup truck being chased by police, by investigators from both sides of the state line, having weaved in and out of traffic. And I'm hearing now that this began at 34th and Lawndale in Kansas City, Missouri. And apparently there was an occupied police car there at 34th and Lawndale, and this car hit the occupied police car, and that's what really started this chase. There may have been more to it than that, but that is what really ignited this chase on the Kansas City, Missouri side, and has led now through some wild scenes heading to the Kansas side now, still heading southbound here on I-35, oftentimes on the shoulder of the highway, as we watch it come upon, 95th Street there,
95th
right?
is a half mile up the road here.
Yeah, and many people obviously seeing this doesn't look right and putting on their brakes and getting over, and that's a wise thing to do at this point, and let officers get as close as they can and hopefully pull this thing to a stop. Taking the exit here, it looks to be, is this 69 Highway?
That is 95th Street.
No, 95th Street, okay. Exiting now 95th Street.
And now going eastbound.
In Overland Park and heading eastbound.
We think.
Colliding
there's definitely some contact there.
Colliding with an SUV, with a small crossover vehicle there, hit the back of that, pulled off its back bumper, and just kept on going. Okay, heading eastbound now on 95th Street as police come right up behind it. That is a police cruiser right in the rear of this pickup truck right now, hopefully bringing this to an end.
Let the passenger out.
Let the passenger out, and then continued on. What a wild maneuver that was. Yes, we had been saying this passenger did not look to be a willing participant, and indeed, apparently, at least convinced this driver, let me out of this thing, and looked to be a female with a red T-shirt on, jumping from that vehicle. And she clearly put her hands up and wanted to be no part of this. So I'm sure that they're debating now, what do you do with her? Obviously, she needs to be just talked to, but the chase continues, just as we thought maybe it was coming to a peaceful ending there. Nope, just the passenger hopped out and the driver kept on going. What a wild scene happening this afternoon here in Kansas City. Heading 95th Street towards the mall. Is that where we're heading here? 95th Street towards the mall this afternoon, obviously, much more congested area. Why we are so concerned this afternoon, if you're just now tuning in, this is a chase that began quite a while ago and has gone on far longer than we ever could have imagined, for sure.
Yeah, that'd be 95th and Quivira if they're getting over towards the mall. And it looks like that could be the intersection right there. That is another massive intersection that's going to be tricky to maneuver.
This very concerning, obviously. I'm sure police trying to figure out from this woman, you know, what exactly is happening here and what is the plan. As we watch again here from Chopper 5, if you're just now tuning in, we have watched this as it has unfolded here. A police chase of this white pickup truck. It started at 34th and Lawndale in Kansas City, Missouri, and meandered onto the Kansas side. Went through some rail yards onto 18th Street Expressway, through Fairway and Roland Park, and is now was on I-35 momentarily there until it exited then on 95th Street. Just moments ago, pulled over, thought maybe it was coming to an end, but it only pulled over long enough to let the passenger jump out and then continued on here, meandering through roads, highways, side streets, at some point neighborhood residential areas, and just continues to evade police. Now on eastbound 435 this afternoon, I'm telling you, if you have anyone heading home from work here anytime soon, is this any part of their travel zone, it may be worth waiting just a little while. Let's make sure this comes to a peaceful ending before you get in the thick of this. This is something you never want to be a part of, as we've seen through the years that people's lives have been taken when chases happen like this, and just innocently are in the wrong place at the wrong time and get hit by cars that come by. It's a horrible situation, something that we take very seriously. Obviously, authorities do too, which is why they're trying to bring this car over and get it to stop here peacefully, hopefully. But as we head towards the top of the hour here, look, more and more traffic out there as it just zigzags in between cars. We've seen one vehicle now, one kind of crossover black SUV, has been hit. I don't think badly. I don't think any injuries necessarily, but the car was probably pretty beaten up as the back bumper was ripped off. But nonetheless, even with that, this white pickup truck, the driver of it, just keeps on going quite successfully, meandering through fairly heavy traffic at times, even through residential neighborhoods with a little meandering room, has continued to evade police now for at least 45 minutes or so is probably the timeline I'm looking at. I'm not sure exactly when it was initially spotted at 34th and Lawndale, but what we understand to be true.
They attempted to throw stop sticks, it looked like.
We're hearing they're trying to throw out stop sticks. Those often can be kind of tricky to navigate and really get ahead of this vehicle, and oftentimes that takes a few tries before they are successful. But it looks like they threw something out.
Looks like
anyway,
right.
So hopefully, and it looks to be getting into quite a sandwich situation here. Not as easy to meander through all of this traffic here, and hopefully if those stop sticks work in any way, may have been another unsuccessful attempt. It's throwing down stop sticks in front of this vehicle has just seemed to be, I think we're nearing Metcalf Avenue at this point, but just has really done amazing maneuvering to make its way all across the metro this afternoon, and avoiding police at every turn.
Carolyn, this has been, I've been watching your coverage of this. This has been some of the most harrowing coverage we've seen on Kansas City streets in quite some time. Just the speed that this guy has been traveling at, not only in residential neighborhoods, but what caught my attention was when he was rolling through that parking lot in the Walmart just off of Rowe.
Yeah.
That's where you don't know what's going to happen. And the
now
driver
going the wrong
of this
direction down this
my gosh.
Lane here. That's when it gets especially dangerous, obviously heading right into oncoming traffic.
So, as you mentioned earlier, Carolyn, this all started on the Missouri side, about 34th and Lawndale, and the driver of this pickup apparently hit a police cruiser, and that's what started this.
Okay. This now, this white pickup truck now heading east towards State Line Avenue this afternoon. So again, eastbound towards State Line. Again, multiple lanes of traffic here to meander through, and has done so fairly successfully, if I can use that word, throughout the afternoon, as this continues to just go on now into 45 minutes, close to an hour now, that police have been after this white pickup truck, just passing Lamar there on 435.
Well, you knew that there was a sense of desperation to this driver when early on in this chase, he took off, and that's when he was in Kansas City, Kansas, and he was in the rail yards area, and he was just cruising down, the rail yard. And that's what you knew. This guy was going to do anything he could to try and get away from officers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And the fact that that vehicle has withstood all of these strange conditions is quite simply amazing. I don't know if you saw it there, but from Chopper 5, you could see the police helicopter also staying right over top of this car. It's in our viewfinder there. Our Chopper 5 viewfinder has their police chopper right in view as well. So clearly they are right on top of this, and they're not giving up yet from chasing this driver of this white vehicle. Now, if you're just now tuning in, we saw here about 10 minutes or so ago that as it was pulling through a quieter street, it actually almost came to a stop. Thought maybe, perhaps, the person was giving up, maybe handing it over, putting the hands up. Not at all. Simply allowed the person who was in the passenger seat, looked to be a female in the passenger seat, let that person out, and then kept on going.
And as Gary mentioned, what he was able to see for a brief period was that we were able to get a glimpse inside of the cab, and you could tell that she was in a state of panic, so to speak. So it'll be interesting to find out what her relationship is with the driver, what happened, because she was making some hand gestures, and you could tell that she was not happy with what was going on.
Yeah, I do not want to be a part of this.
And then clearly when he came to almost a stop, she gets out with her hands up, and then he takes off again. So obviously now she's in custody of police, who are now questioning her about her role in all of this. But the speeds at which this pickup is now, there's, again, now you can see through Chopper 5's eyes, there's a police chopper there in the top portion of your screen. But, you know, more and more people, Carolyn, you've been saying this throughout this coverage, more and more people are now hitting the streets and the roads as he got off of 35. And let's see what happens here.
Causing a U-turn. Seems to be slowing down finally here. All right, it's the driver's door is open. Hands were up in the air briefly and already down on the ground, put his hands immediately behind his back. This is near Warnell and 435. This chase that has led police from both sides of the state line all over the place has finally come to a peaceful ending here at 435 near Warnell this afternoon, as several officers now come up upon the truck, guns drawn, but he seems to have come out hands up and went right down to the ground, hands behind his back, ready to surrender here. And it does not appear that they seem concerned at all that there's anyone else inside that pickup truck. As we mentioned, he did drop off a passenger several miles ago. Safely, a woman got out of the passenger side, but he is being handcuffed here on the right here on the street at Warnell and 435 this afternoon. A successful ending to a police chase that has really drug on all through the afternoon hour, about 45 minutes or so, at least, at minimum, that started at 34th and Lawndale in Kansas City, Missouri, and has finally come to an end here at 435 and Warnell.
Interesting to note that he's wearing a safety vest. The suspect is wearing a safety vest. Don't know why or what he was doing, but a large number of police who have now converged on this scene. But thankfully now this is over. It's come to a safe conclusion. He did hit some cars, did considerable damage to one SUV during this melee when he was on the run, but this is over now.
Yeah, we're hearing now officially from police that it was over 40 minutes that this pursuit took place. So it was ongoing for a good long while from Kansas City, Missouri, across the state lines through Kansas City, and finally ending here at 435 and Warnell this afternoon as he awaits being officially taken away in handcuffs here from this scene, as now this chase that we have watched from Chopper 5 is now officially over. Thankfully, besides the one car we saw being hit, kind of a rear bumper problem, didn't look to be, you know, anyone injured kind of a thing. Thankfully, it looks as if no one was injured along the way.
You know what was frightening, though, about that incident that you were just describing when he clipped that SUV?
Yeah.
He had no designs on slowing down. He was going to plow through if he could. It just so happened that I thought he was going to spin that driver out and to make it even worse. So clearly he was doing anything he could to get away from officers. I mean, he displayed that throughout this entire 40-minute chase, from going through a rail yard to going through, you know, plowing through a Walmart parking lot. It's just an amazing scene of events here, as then he was going, you know, on down the wrong lanes on I-35. I mean, this really was very dangerous today.
Indeed. They're patting him down now before putting him in that police cruiser to take him in to custody for, I'm sure, further questioning on what exactly transpired here. But that is something that we will continue to investigate for you throughout the evening. What exactly, why run like this? Why cause such a disturbance? And what exactly now that he'll be charged with after a 40-minute chase this afternoon that has clearly put a lot of lives in danger.